It is now being reported that Sacramento is pursuing a Brandon Ingram trade. This has always kind of been floated out there, but I don't think it's ever been officially reported. But a little over a month ago, I made a video titled, "Where Will Brandon Ingram Go?" And at the 2-minute 40-second mark, around the 2-minute 40-second mark, I said this: the next team on the list might be my favorite scenario if it wasn't for the fact that this team would still be in the Western Conference and it wouldn't even guarantee them a playoff spot. But I absolutely love this fit, and that is the Sacramento Kings. Unfortunately, we are living in reality here, so as much as I would love to say, just give the Pelicans Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, and Davion Mitchell and call it a day, throw some draft picks in there. I'm not quite sure the Pelicans would do that, but if you give them Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, Davion Mitchell, 2 first-round picks for Brandon Ingram and let's say Jose Alvarado, on the surface that does not sound appealing at all, right? But you get Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter, 2 guys making good money in the NBA, not crazy money, right? So that means those are 2 tradable contracts that you're getting, along with 2 first-round picks that you can now use in the next big trade. Let's say a team really loves Dyson Daniels. Well, Dyson Daniels only makes $6 million a year. Now you attach Dyson Daniels to Harrison Barnes, $18 million, along with a first-round pick. Who knows what that gets you? I'm just giving the rationale for why the Pelicans might do it. And mind you, obviously that video was made way before the DeJounte Murray trade, right? But the DeJounte Murray trade makes it so that particular trade wouldn't be that bad anymore. Now that you have DeJounte Murray, getting Kevin Huerter and Harrison Barnes doesn't sound that bad. I'm not gonna go into too many specifics because the deal hasn't happened yet, and if it does happen, we don't know exactly who will be included. But I can pretty much guarantee that Sabonis, Fox, and Keegan Murray will not be in the deal. And if I had to guess how this would play out in Sacramento, I feel like we'd see a lot of Brandon Ingram and Keegan Murray in the second units. I've made several videos talking about Brandon Ingram and his chemistry with Trey Murphy. I feel like it would be a similar thing with Keegan Murray. The most intriguing part of this to me is his potential fit with Domantas Sabonis. Now, a couple of days ago, I made a video, again, talking about Brandon Ingram potentially going to Philadelphia, right? And I spoke about how when he played with Brook Lopez, he got a lot of easy looks off the ball. But that's different. Brook Lopez made over 100 threes that year. We've never seen B.I. play with a center that facilitates the offense. In theory, you would think it's good. You would think it would force him to cut more. You'd think it'd force him to take more threes. I think it's going to start out a little bit clunky, but hopefully they can figure it out. I do believe Brandon Ingram's best asset is his passing. Maybe that's a little bit of a hipster take there, but I feel like he's so underrated as a passer. And when you have someone like Sabonis that averages 8 assists per game, how much is that really going to shine in Sacramento for Brandon Ingram? How much is he really going to be able to show as a playmaker? Or do they want him being more of a off-ball scorer? We're going to run screens, more screens for Brandon Ingram off-ball, which is a good thing, right? But you also have Keegan Murray that occupies that role. You have Malik Monk that also occupies that role, assuming Malik Monk is not in this deal. You know, selfishly, as a fan of Brandon Ingram, I'd probably like it more if Malik Monk wasn't there. I feel like he'd put up like crazy numbers. There's no reason he wouldn't be able to average 24 points and 5 assists if Malik Monk wasn't there. But that's just me speaking from a fan perspective, someone that wants to see Brandon Ingram potentially be an all-star again, right? That's not going to happen probably if Malik Monk is there, which is cool because they're going to be a better team because of it. But what would his stat line look like? Is he going to have a similar stat line to this year, where it's 20 points, 5 boards, 5 assists? Probably, but it's probably going to be even a little bit different. He's probably going to be taking more threes. You know what? We'll dive into it if it actually happens. I'm recording this before a trade even happens. I just seen the report, and I wanted it to be clear because I've made a ton of Brandon Ingram videos throughout my whole YouTube channel, but specifically in the last month or so, because we've all seen the trade coming. At least I've seen it coming. Maybe you guys didn't see it coming. But I've mentioned so many teams, and I've barely mentioned the Sacramento Kings. But I wanted it to be known that when I made the video, Where Will Brandon Ingram Go?, I said the Sacramento Kings was my favorite outcome. Only downside is they're in the Western Conference, so they could be this great team and it doesn't even guarantee them a playoff spot. Where if Brandon Ingram was on the Kings and that team was in the East, I would say a top 5 seed. I really would. But in the West, who really knows? Maybe the Warriors are gonna, bow out gracefully, but that's disrespectful to Steph. Maybe Steph can have another, all-time great season and prop those guys back up. Or maybe they make a move we're not even thinking about. Maybe they get Brandon Ingram, right? Maybe there's a move we don't know. The Spurs getting Chris Paul, I think people need to take that seriously. Later in my, I don't want to say later in my life, but later in Chris Paul's career, let's put it that way. I've always been a fan of Chris Paul, but now I'm almost becoming like a Chris Paul defender where I don't think people understand how good he was in his prime and how good he still is. He had a very good year for the Warriors for what they asked him to do. I've seen when he made 14 straight shots against the Pelicans, like, this dude's still amazing at basketball, and obviously he's going to fit great with Wemby. Would not surprise me at all if the Spurs are a playoff team. So just saying, as much as I would like this move for the Kings, it doesn't really guarantee them anything. But again, I'm making this before a trade is even made. Just off the rumor, I wanted it to be known that I said the Kings were my favorite destination for Brandon Ingram, if only they're in the Eastern Conference. But we'll see what happens. You guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. Please drop a like, please drop a comment, please subscribe. I'm out. Peace.